Oh, you know this. I mean, we don't do it together, but we both do this.
What are we talking about?
You can, if you really wanted to be able to get to know your office manager.
What are you talking about?
Would you stop?
Hey guys, welcome to Dental Guiding Point, where we talk about the problems that plague your office and give you our solutions that we found that work really well for us. And you can take them or leave them, but they are there to solve your problems, make you more profitable and a little less stressed. Actually, a lot less stressed, I would say. Today, what we're talking about is the one, the only, the office manager in your office. How do you pay them and what to look for when you're thinking about an office manager? So we're going to cover it from both sides. The office manager that you may promote and the office manager that you already have and you're wondering, am I paying her well? Am I taking care of her? And should I pay her more or am I overpaying her? So we're going to talk about all of that and so much more. I'm Dr. Dill and this is Miss Toria Plank.
Hey, y'all.
All right, guys, so let's jump into it. What are you actually looking for when you're looking for an office manager? What all are they actually going to do for the owner doctor?
Well, let's talk about what people think office managers should do first.
Oh, so there's a difference.
There is a difference. A lot of times when I have interviewed office managers, they will say, well, I do all the insurance claims and I do all the scheduling and I sit up front and post all the payments. And that's it. That's their office manager. Okay.
Sounds like a super employee.
Yeah.
Not necessarily an office manager.
Agree.
Okay.
So, but an office manager, a true office manager that's running the practice should have a whole lot more responsibilities than that and should not be tied to just posting payments all day. An office manager is the person who is driving your team. They are getting people to hit their goals. They are setting up the goals that the doctor has already created for them. They just have to divide it out by what they're trying to achieve per day. They're the ones who is training your staff in every area. Yes, they're the ones who has to handle issues when they come about. But again, that's not just the full office manager's job. I actually just talked to an office and he thought that his office manager should be the one that just handles all the issues. And it's like, but who's managing your practice? Who's driving that to get products from each department? But there's nobody. Everybody's just willy-nilly out there doing it. So that's pretty much what an office manager should be doing.
What about the skill level of the person that's going to be promoted into an office manager? What background do they need to have or what knowledge or, what are the main things about the main thing?
Honestly, for me, I could train an office manager with no skills. The personality is going to be what I would look for the most. But people who make great office managers are dental assistants, to be honest. They know a little bit about every area of a dental practice. They know enough about insurance. They know everything about the doctor and assisting, but hygiene, they make probably the best office managers. So if they have some kind of dental background, that's a plus for them. If they have some kind of insurance background or understanding what treatment is, that's a plus. Everything else, you can train yourself. Gotcha.
So I guess another pro is if they're a dental assistant and they've been sitting across from the doctor, for any amount of time, they actually kind of get to know him, his personality, his likes, dislikes, and stuff like that on a pretty deep level.
Like the back of their hand.
Yeah. And then I guess the thing about a hygienist that makes it a little bit hard, just logistically, is hygienist pay is already pretty high. And it's a little hard to take a hygienist out of the chair and pay them their pay. Now, eventually, a very effective office manager would be able to earn way more than what a hygienist does. But at least initially, it would almost be like a pay decrease, or the doctor is going to have to kind of eat that pay. Because it would be hard to make a hygienist an office manager and then give them a pay increase.
Because you're in a high range already that you're moving your hygienist in as an office manager.
Exactly. So with an assistant, you can actually give them a little bit more. And the thing is, an assistant shouldn't really, well, any employee really shouldn't be looking to become an office manager for either a title or pay, really. They should be interested in like making the office perform the right way. That should really be the thing that drives them more than anything else. Yes, they're going to be taken care of financially, but like if you talk to somebody about becoming an office manager and they're like, well, how much does that pay? That would be a little bit of a red flag for me.
Any of my office managers or office managers I have trained, every one of them is probably going to say, I don't care about the title. I care about the practice, or I care about the owner doctor. That's usually, they're going to make you a pretty banged up office manager.
Yeah, they have a sense of, I know how it should be done. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I want to have the authority to be able to ensure that it gets done that way. And then that way that they want it done is the way that the owner doctor wants it done. So really, that's what drives them and what motivates them. More money will come as there's more success. What else do we need to think about in terms of training a office manager? Here they are, sucking spit and blood, and then now they're running a practice.
So one, you have to have a pretty solid training path already typed up, written up, as long as it's somewhere that you can have access to start training them. But mainly it's sitting down and talking to the owner doctor and figuring out, okay, what is that owner doctor's goals for the office manager? What areas do they want the office manager to have control over? Then they need to start training that office manager in that area. And are they going to be like away from a post? Meaning like, are they going to be tied to a seat? Or are they going to have like free range to walk around in the practice to make sure things are flowing like it should? If it's going to be tied to the seat, she's going to be limited to what she can control, right? Because she's not back there to see what's going on. So once all that is established, then you can kind of start working on your check sheet of what do you want them to train on and what kind of companies are out there that could even give them more training. I mean, there's so many of them. And continue, with their education with it.
Let's talk about getting results as an office manager. So I take somebody, I promote them to an office manager, and, I should have some expectations on what they're going to do for the office. So what kind of results would we expect that an office manager is going to create for the owner doctor?
A lot. One, it's going to take off a lot of the responsibilities that the owner doctor has been having to hold, staff issues, patient issues, bills, money, everything except for that doctor needs to concentrate on clinical care, right? And then with office managers, results are figuring out what that owner's doctor's goal is. So let's say you're only doing $80,000 a month. And you stick that office manager in that post and she's already been trained by you, the whole 9 yards. You should be able to see an increase from 80 to your $100,000 goal, within, I would say even a 3-month time period. There should be some kind of increase, not decreases in what we call stats. So if your collection starts going down, you might want to start looking to see what is it that she's managing. If your staff are starting to fall off or you're not growing in any way of anywhere in your practice, then that's when that would be a red flag. But there should be tremendous increase when putting an office manager on post.
Good. Okay, so let's take a little time out here from talking about it from the office manager standpoint. And I want to talk to the owner doctors for just a second. That office manager is your responsibility. Mm-hmm. When you promote somebody into office manager, you might as well take a bullseye and put it on their back because the staff will come after them. You don't train the office manager to protect the team from a bad office manager. You train the office manager to protect them from the team. They will dump on that office manager over and over and over and over. And it's real easy for us to walk out of the office and go, well, Glad it's her, not me.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to be mindful of that because it's easy for the office manager to get overwhelmed. So as the office manager is starting to get results and you're starting to see growth, then you've got to start to train up people underneath the office manager. So if you think about like a business like Walmart or Target or, Amazon or whatever, they don't have just a linear structure. They've got all these layers of people, underneath the CEO. Well, the same thing for a dental office. You may have the dentist as a CEO, and then you may have the office manager that's kind of running the operations of the practice and kind of handling decisions the same way that the owner doctor would. But then there's other little minute decisions that need to be made in the different areas, and you need to have some other people trained up to help the office manager out. So you want to make sure that you are teaching the office manager when they're handling upsets with patients, patients mad because they had to wait or they got to come back because a crown wouldn't seat or a filling broke or something. I mean, it's inevitable. Like there's going to be little things. There's a percentage of the population out there that just want to walk around and create problems no matter what. So you're going to get those people. You're going to have an office manager like handling some of the poop of the office, and you just want to make sure that it doesn't get them down. So they're handling that. Then they're handling the staff, the staff not, being compliant with the office manager. That, that's a possibility, or them throwing shade at the office manager and stuff. And so you're going to be a bit of a sounding board for the office manager, but you don't want to get tied into the drama. These are all part of you developing your office manager. Build them strong and give them the tools and the power and the skills that they need to be able to be successful as an office manager.
I'm going to add to that, when office managers get put on post and they're already trained, when that office manager has to do their first correction with staff and everything, guess what that owner doctor is going to get? That staff running to him, that the office manager got onto him, and they're going to paint the office manager like in this horrible light. If that office manager has already increased your practice and you can see there's already growth in there, have that office manager's back. Like, don't be quick to throw her underneath the bus with the staff member. If you need to investigate it. But also protect her. Or him, sorry.
Yeah. Protect the office manager at all cost. And then, no public criticism, no public handlings with your office manager. Do that behind closed doors. And then if they do make a wrong call, that's fine. Don't beat them up over it. Just, teach them next time this is how I would do it. And then find a way to help them save face in front of your, the rest of your staff.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question that you guys have all been waiting for, and the question that we get asked often is, how do you pay your office manager, salary or hourly?
So your office manager is going to put in probably more hours than any other employee. Like, you can't pay somebody 24/7. Now, office managers, I don't expect y'all to work 24/7. But they do work a lot of times on the weekends and after hours talking to staff or maybe even patients. And so they don't get paid for that, right? Salary is the best way to go, in my opinion, for it, for that reason. And then on top of that, like, they're the ones who's running your practice and stuff. So let's say they do miss a day of work because their kids are sick or something. Like, that's a bonus of being an office manager. They still get paid for that. So I am a big believer on salary. I really don't know what your opinion is on that, honestly.
I'm going to go with door number one, salary. So here's my belief in how I look at this stuff. Because, there is no wrong answer per se, as long as like both people feel like they're being taken care of. But the reason that I feel like salary makes it a little bit easier is because there is a lot. Like, there's going to be a staff member that contacts the OM at 9:00 at night and says, hey, my kid's running a fever, whatever. And they got to handle the text message. They got to handle the phone call, whatever it is. We've gotten phone calls at 3 a.m. about like, I'm at the vet's office and my dog is whatever and blah, blah, blah. So you've got like all these odd little tidbits that happen after hours. It's inevitable for the office manager, which there is a way to be able to handle this to minimize it. But, oftentimes the office manager gets that, hey, do you have a minute? And it's like quitting time. And they come in and they've got a personal thing that they want to share with the office manager. And it could be pretty serious, pretty deep. And the office manager has to sit there, and it's another 30 or 45 minutes, and it has nothing to do with the office. It just has to do with their staff. And you're, the mature one in the office, you're the wise one in the office. And so they're asking for life advice.
Mm-hmm.
And,
you become the mother or father.
It's kind of part of the territory. So, as far as getting paid hourly, it's kind of hard to say, oh, well, before you respond to text message, clock in and clock out.
Right.
You can't really do that. So the fairest way to just be able to do it is to say, look, salary with bonuses. So, when we first started converting, we work, basically 8 clinical hours Monday through Thursday, and then we work 6 clinical hours on Friday. But we would pay for 40 hours a week. That would be what would be considered clinical, and that would cover any little oddball type stuff that a office manager may do. So how you figure out what is a fair pay, at first you may take what they're making and up it by $1, $2, $3. My gut says probably $2 or $3 per hour. Mm-hmm. And then calculate it at 40 hours a week, 52 weeks out of the year. And make an agreement on, how much vacation somebody's going to take. And then that's that. If they have to be out for surgery, they have to be out for, their kids or whatever. I mean, the likelihood that your office manager is going to take advantage of you is really slim to none, because that's how they got the job in the first place. If you pick the right person, then you're not going to have to address and handle some of those issues. Now, if you do, there's a way to be able to sit down and talk to them about it and see what's going on. That's what I would do. But for the most part, they got to that position because they're pretty dedicated. So if that became a problem, the problem is probably who you picked, not necessarily like having to set rules and stuff like that for the OM. Because if that's their attitude, I'm going to lay out unnecessarily, then they're probably laying out even when they're at work, like mentally they're detached or whatever. Mm-hmm. So just know that would be a red flag in terms of, did I pick the right person, rather than, well, what if they take too many days off or whatever. It's also a give and take. Yeah, maybe they were off a little bit excessive, but like they also have like work through lunch, or they have like been coming in early for a while to get like meaningful stuff done to prepare for the day. And it's not because they're OCD. It's not because they're just not efficient. It's something that needs to be done, and they just do it. Maybe they come by the office on a Sunday and like clean the parking lot, pick up trash or something. We've had an office manager do that.
They take ownership.
Yeah, they take ownership. So you're kind of like a little bit more lenient. Like they're kind of going above and beyond and not even bragging about it or telling you about it. They just do it. So just be mindful that there's got to be some leniency there. I mean, like with Toria, she works when she needs to work, but if she needs to go do something personal through the week, like get her hair done or get her nails done or whatever, she's welcome to do that, because there's plenty of time that she puts in time after hours that maybe she's not able to go do some of that stuff. So she can go through the week if she wants. I give her that grace to be able to do that.
Office managers only do that if my stats up. If my stats down, that's getting skipped.
If an office manager is doing some of these things, some personal things, I mean, when they go and get stuff to tough get going. Mm-hmm. So, all stat businesses, things like that have to be running pretty good. And not only that, but Tori's not an office manager. She used to be. She's COO now. So, there's not things being left undone. When they're out on surgery, I mean, you task them with like, hey, let's make sure that while you're out, we have, good months and stuff. Let's get the team prepared. And so they work hard from before the surgery so that everything goes just right during the surgery and while someone's out. and still include them, like their pay and their bonus and all that, because it's all their efforts. They get paid for what the results they get. They don't really get paid for like the hours they put in, even though they will put in more hours than anybody else, generally speaking. So I'm a fan of salary for that reason. It's just too hard to do hourly and thank them for all the dedication and stuff that they will do on a hit or miss basis.
Agree 100%. Now, one of the things that people will talk about is, well, when do I give them raises? You only give them raises when you see improvements in your practice, just FYI. So if your numbers are down and she comes or he comes to you and says like, hey, I want a raise since now I'm taking on more. No, like I will not approve that.
Yeah, there reaches a certain level where a raise is always tied to like improvement in something, not necessarily like taking on more responsibility, because they might not be good at that extra responsibility, or they're good at this, but then that goes down. So they got to be competent. They got to be able to do it. So if you give them an extra $2 or $3 an hour, put that as a salary, and then with bonuses, then you're good. So when you have a great month, like you bonus them out really nicely. And then if you have an okay month, they get another okay bonus, but a bonus better than what the rest of the staff do. And then if you have a down month, nobody gets bonuses, including the owner doctor. That's kind of how you do it. Like your office managers make a little bit more than everybody else, but they make a whole lot more than everybody else through bonuses.
Yeah.
So let the bonuses, I don't have a problem if bonuses are more than what the salary is at times. Like if profitability is that good, then absolutely. And they're capable of that. They're capable of being able to produce such an efficient, profitable office that their bonus could be more than their salary.
I will say when raises too, if they've gotten your stats up, and they've done like some kind of achievement with training, say you send them to a different facility or train with a mentor or whatever, then you could probably look at a raise at that point. But I would stick with heavy on the bonuses.
What kind of games could you play with your OM that's a little bit separate than the rest of the team? Because generally your OM is running games, and they're not included. They don't get to participate.
Of course, you can do the whole shopping sprees. You can do the spa days. You can do that. You can do Tiffany's. You can do Louis Vuitton. You can do all these things. Find out from your office manager what is some of her goals. Can I tell them a story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I first became an office manager, my dream was to have a Mercedes. Dr. Dills tells me, he goes, well, go get you one. You're an office manager. You're making more. You're bonusing out really well. Like, you should treat yourself with that. And I was like, I ain't doing that. He's like, just go look at them. And so I went and looked at them. I came back. I told him what they were. He's like, well, how much do you have to make to be able to get that? And he had to help me with the math a little bit. And he said, well, for you to be able to make this, I have to make this. And so then that became my game. And so as soon as I knew that I could hit that, guess who went and signed papers on a Mercedes? This girl right here. And I was the happiest little girl ever.
There you go, guys. So yeah, find out what it is that they're interested in. Find out what it is they want. And, you're kind of like hitting your office managers shouldn't be working their butt off for you and then still struggling financially. Mm-hmm. They just shouldn't. This is like the person that's running your $1 million enterprise or more. So you need to be taking good care of them. They should not want for anything. Well, they might want. They should not need for anything, I guess I should say.
We're women. We're going to want.
Yes, their families should be taken care of. All your basic needs, whether it's their health or whether it's their, clothing and vehicles and school, their kids and, family and stuff like that. They should be good there. Now, if they just got promoted to office manager, I'm not saying surprise, you got a life of, luxury or an easy life now.
Mm-mm.
They have to earn it. But like, as you're going through, you bring them up through their needs and all their needs are then met. Then the wants evolve and change. They keep getting bigger. And so, their want could be, something simple like, a little vacation or getaway or a Louis Vuitton purse or a car. So having said that, those are mini games that you can play with your OMs to incentivize them and, make it separate from the rest of the team. We don't flaunt it or showboat it. Often, if I gave her, like if we played a game or she got a Louis Vuitton purse or something like that, it was given to her between us, not really like out in front of the staff or whatever. Now, they see the Louis Vuitton and, it's not really a big deal.
But we don't make a symbol.
We don't make a spectacle of that. But what is it? # goals. Like they see the OM thriving and they're like, I want to be just like her. And she's got many staff members that would come to her and say, I want your job. She still does have them come to her. And she says, good, because when I move on up, then I'm going to need somebody to come in behind me and do the job that I'm doing today.
Better than me.
Yeah, that I'm going to have a job, that I'm doing tomorrow. So yeah, the goal is to inspire those to replace the OM. And when they see the OM doing a great job, it inspires them to want to be like the OM.
One of the things that owner doctors can do in front of the staff is like anniversary gifts, Christmas gifts, any of those. You can showcase that in front of your staff if it's like, not going to be too flashy. I guess it doesn't matter if it's really flashy because it symbolizes what growth can get you. And it might inspire some of these other staff members to want to get to that way.
Yeah. So one thing that I'll say, guys, you may not be a materialistic person, but everybody's got their thing that is like a symbol of like success. It's a symbol of hard work. And it could be a purse. It could be a donation to a charity of your choice. It could be a larger bank account. Makes you happy when you look in there. It may be your kids going to a private school. It could be, a particular house in an area or a particular house in itself, your car, whatever. And so when we're talking about these luxury items, the luxury item of itself isn't a whole lot of like, there's not a lot of like meaning there for that item. But that item is a symbol of something else, which is achievement, success, hard work, sacrifice, all of these things that go into getting to that point of being able to have those things. So it's not a matter of like whether other people have it or not. It's just a matter of, I think Louis Vuitton purses look good. Therefore, I like to have one, but I'd never spend that kind of money on one. But if I can achieve something that would earn me that purse, I would do it. So just work with that, both OMs and owner doctors, knowing that like there are some factors that are at play there, because sometimes it's kind of hard for the owner doctor to be able to see it from the perspective of the OM, because maybe the owner doctor is not a super materialistic kind of person. But then on the flip side, maybe the OM isn't a materialistic kind of person and doesn't understand, the doctor and that sort of thing. But everybody's kind of got their thing that they're able to do because they're successful. And all that is just a representation of something, of success or sacrifice or something. So
that's how I look at all my stuff. And like when I look at my house or my car, like I look at it like, I worked hard for this. Now let's work hard for something else. But Dr. Dill is very good. And so am I. Like I know all my office managers' goals. I know what they want. I know what their wish lists are, that whole 9 yards. But that also helps me help them grow to be able to achieve those. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Dill could spit off everything that I want or my goals. And so you didn't have to give the look. But those are things that he's like, that's what she's working towards, and let's go for it. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, we don't come from money or anything. We're both self-made, and all of our office managers self-made.
Yep.
Not that matters one way or the other, but in terms of having something like this, as far as a reward goes, it's just a matter of like, I mean, it could be a bonus. It could be a donation to like that kid's school. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't have to be like materialistic like that. It could be making an impact in someone else's life through a donation on their behalf. So you find out what makes them tick, and then that's what you work towards, because everybody has a place that they want to go. Office managers especially, and owner doctors, we're goal-oriented, driven people. And so there is success, and then there's financial kickback that comes with that, and we got to do something with it. It could just be the bank account, and that's fine too, but it could also go to a good cause, or it could go to a good item.
Can I say, like, well, this. I mean, we don't do it together, but we both do this.
What are we talking about?
You can, if you really wanted to be able to get to know your office manager.
What are you talking about?
Would you stop? You could create vision boards with each other. Yeah, I know, right? You could create vision boards with each other, or do it on your own time, but share it with one another. And that kind of can help to see what you're wanting to achieve. A vision board, you can use magazines, you can use Google, all that. Get a poster board, tape on it what your goals and dreams are. Okay, so let's get back to this. Have different benefit packages for office managers. Like, they may have different swag. They may, get extra vacation days. They may get, if you do free dental care for a staff, maybe you want to extend it to their family or something of that nature. Like, have different benefit packages when it comes to office managers too. That sets someone different from the rest of the staff. Yeah,
because you're going to, if stats are down, you have different expectations for your office manager. If like all of a sudden you feel like you need to call a meeting after hours, you wouldn't expect your office manager to just throw out some bogus reason why she's not going to be in that meeting. No, like that's the one person that you would say, nobody else can show up, they will. So the opposite is true too. When it comes to like their needs, on the flip side of things, and some things, because life happens, they're going to go through their stuff. And as they're going through it, you need to provide them the same amount of leniency and make sure that they're well taken care of in every way.
Agree.
Okay, guys. So that is office manager. Now, some of the specific details we might not have necessarily gotten into, because it could vary. You are hiring someone that's been an office manager somewhere else. What would that pay kind of look like? Hourly pay. Mm-hmm. I mean, an office manager that is a established dental assistant, maybe an extra $2 or $3 per hour, flip them into salary. And that should be a little bit of a pay bump plus a bigger bonus. But if you've got, say, a OM that's coming from another office, they may be making maybe $5 to $6 more per hour than what your chairside assistants are making. I'm not a big fan of making expanded function dental assistants office managers, although sometimes that could be the case, but you try not to do that just because you need them over in the chair, and they've got a better income being in the chair than what a typical dental assistant would have. So again, you start to get into that like hygienist situation where they're already kind of up there in pay. So that upward mobility gets a little bit more limited until they're a much more established office manager. So then an established office manager might be making about $10 more per hour than your dental assistants. But your office managers could go all the way up to, if they're doing fantastic for you and they've got the practice really profitable and growing and doing good, they may be making 80 to 85,000, but they're also probably helping you run a practice that's doing maybe 1.5 million in collections, or more per year. And then, as you start to get into the $2, the $3, the $4 million range per year, you might be having office managers, push 100, 110, even all the way up to 120,000. But a large percentage of that is, their bonuses each month. You'll kind of feel your way into it. Now, I would be in my office, I'd be a little skeptical of hiring an OM because we're very, very particular on our training. And somebody that's worked in another office just isn't going to fit. We almost have to have a homegrown, personally trained.
I prefer homegrown.
Yeah. So for, somebody coming out of another office, I have to untrain them and then retrain them. Plus I have to sit there and convince them that our way is right. And, that takes time versus just somebody that's already there that I know is capable, and I can just teach them the right way the first time. And I'm not spending time convincing them, and I'm not spending time unlearning them and getting rid of bad habits.
All of our office managers, including myself, none of us went to business school or anything like that. I started out as a student and a sterile tech, and then became a dental assistant. And actually all my office managers were dental assistants, and they might have moved around in the practice and then became an office manager. So you don't have to go look for an Ivy League person or anything like that.
If they're there, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you have to. Yeah. Your office managers are right there under your fingertips and can be trained. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be able to help with that.
If any of you are office managers or you want a specific video that we don't share about office managers, let us know. But there's so many of you out there that has multiple practices. And if you have a COO, I would love to do a video on that too.
Yes. So send us a comment on what you want to see us do a video on. And not only that, but you've got very specific needs or questions that have to do with your practice. And we want to know who you are. We want to interact with you guys because we're trying to create a community with positivity with dentists. We want to solve these problems so that you guys aren't out there stressed out with very little profit. We want you to be loving life. We want you to be profitable. We want you to be able to give back. So comment, let us know, be good, be nice. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, like and subscribe. I don't know about the like thing. We're just trying to throw out some free stuff for you guys. But subscribe and then click that bell because you want this stuff coming to you guys. We want y'all being able to watch this stuff on the way to work, on the way home from work. You're kind of in that mode. You're ready to go. And these are good action steps that you can put in place. It's things for you to think about while you're busy working. So when we drop a video, we want you to know about it and be able to watch it. Hopefully you guys get where it's you can't wait for a video to come out.
Just because I'm funny.
Yeah, because Tori is funny. All right, guys. Toodaloo for now.
See y'all.